Who's up next? It's Red Shirt Films. Red Shirt Films, who are specifically promoting their web series I Am Tim, which is about Tim Helsing doing it's like a comedy, fantasy, horror sort of thing going on. They had quite an impressive booth where you could hold weapons and get your pictures taken holding a chainsaw and a sort of blunderbuss with a skull on it and all this sort of fantasy weaponry. You could get some good photo opportunities there. I'm sure you can find them on their Facebook or whatever. But that was good. If you went to Vidfest, you couldn't really miss them, so you probably saw their booth there. But here we talk to Jamie, who among other things plays Tim Helsing himself and was dressed for the part at the time, so he was all in his own cosplay. But let's let the other me, the past me, and him explain what's going on. I'm losing my mind recording this, but you know, why not? I am here with Jamie at Red Shirt Films, as Tim Helsing himself.
That's me, yes.
Excellent
Currently
work.
disguise.
How's the con going so far?
It's been really good, yeah. We tried something a little different this time around. We've built a photo wall with all the props and accessories and implements of devastation from the series, and we're offering people free photos, which we then put on our Facebook page. So, see if it translates into subscribers and views, which is what we're all ultimately here trying to harvest.
Quite successful so far, because it's very impressive to look at.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been going really well.
Got a chainsaw and a blunderbuss with a skull on it and everything.
You've got to have a gun with a skull on.
Subscribe to our channel for a free epic keyring. I like it.
Yeah. So people, if they subscribe, if they just tell us they subscribe, to be honest, we have like several hundred keyrings in the bucket. So we just want to sort of get rid of them. We saw that some of the guys are doing chocolate coins and rewards and hugs and high fives, and we went, what do we have loads of? Keyrings. So just people, if they can get any kind of phone signal here, if they get a phone out, hit the subscribe button, or just tell us they've subscribed. To be honest, at this point, we just go, yeah, thank you, have a keyring.
Well, give us a quick pitch. Let's see the channel and Tim Helsing in particular.
Okay, so the channel started a few years ago, and it is our MCM, because we're part of Buzz My Videos. They describe it as a multi-series channel, is what they say, because we're not traditional YouTubers. We don't make a lot of short sketches, and we don't really vlog. Although we are vlogging a little bit now. We stopped trying to do it, but mostly it's serial content. There are web series, and we have 3 online at the moment. We have I Am Tim, which is a sort of flagship one that started about 4 years ago, and we're releasing the 3rd season of that next month. Cool. That is a horror comedy show, very much in the vein of early Evil Dead. Big, heavy special effects, lots of fake blood and gore and silliness, not unpleasant gore, what I like to call cheery gore. The sort of gore that you see and you go, ha ha ha, rather than, oh god, it was horrible. It's all very silly, like Monty Python Black Knight, arm comes off, enormous, over-the-top geyser of blood comes flying. Geyser of blood? A geyser of blood, not a geyser of blood, that would be odd.
Yeah, it is primarily a comedy, really.
It is, yeah, horror comedy show, more leaning towards silly comedy than horror, I would say. Although there are a few episodes that are designed to be quite scary. Sort of more supernatural, ghost-inspired ones. They're a bit slower. There's not a lot of dialogue. It's more kind of walking about. There are jump scares in there, tacky, cheap jump scares that people love. And then we have Knights of the Round Table, which is a tabletop gaming comedy show with barely any tabletop gaming. Based around a bunch of friends that meet every Thursday and attempt to play a new game, but it's more to do with the peripheral stuff of it, the friendships and the drinking and the fallings out. And when I was writing that, I went to a lot of tabletop gaming D&D nights, and the one thing I got was how much happened around it all. Like the gaming was almost a kind of tertiary thing compared to everything else that came with it. And I was like, oh, that's much more interesting. Also, Tabletop, the Will Wheaton show, launched the same week as the first episode of Knights of the Round Table, but I became aware of it about 6 months before, so we kind of thought, oh, it's good to maybe move away from that. And then we have The Away Mission, which is our most recent show, which is basically very short, silly episodes about 2 red shirts lost on a planet, completely abandoned, and nothing happens to them at all. That's kind of the whole gag. Like, I think people were expecting big epic chases or aliens, and the whole gag is that they're on this planet, doing some research. The away team fly off without them because they just think, because they're expendable and disposable red shirts, and they get left behind, and then it's just them for 7 episodes trying to pass the time and not doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, I'm a big gaming nerd, and Knights is actually the one show of yours I haven't seen yet, so I don't know how that came about, but for some reason I didn't.
The Knights Round Table?
Yeah, I haven't
seen it. Oh, okay.
That's one of yours, the only one I haven't seen yet.
Well, it's
an odd one.
They're all very different. Yeah, they all have a sort of similar flavour to them. You know, I hope that people can see them and see that it's got that kind of richer villains stamp to it. But yeah, Knights Round Table is the one that we have finished. Like I said, the away mission has 2 more episodes that are coming out next year that sort of finish off. We were unsure whether we were going to do a second season. We ended it on a bit of a cliffhanger, and we had 2 episodes to film, and we decided that we had such a good time filming it that when it came to deciding when we're going to do the next 2, we went, let's actually just hold on this, see how it's received. And it did really well on Dailymotion. I mean, Dailymotion, the episodes got like 10, 20,000 views each. YouTube, not so many. Like, I think episode 1's around 5,000, and then the drop-off. You know, everybody that makes web series has that drop. You know, we get so many thousand views on the first episode, and then they say you lose about 60% or more, as the case is on some things.
We have a weird peak on episode 7, where it just suddenly went up and then went straight back down again.
What episode
on our show, yeah, it went up to
it's
episode,
weird. It does so. We had on Dailymotion, the Halloween episode has something like 100,000 views, whereas the next highest one is at like 15,000. I think, to be honest, it might have been the thumbnail, because it was a Halloween episode, and the thumbnail is all the characters in costume, and one of the characters is wearing she brought her own costume. I was a director of the series. I'm not part of the patriarchy. I wasn't going, no, let's have an awfully. She turned up and went, I've got this costume, and it was it's very, very attractive costume, shall we say. And that's the thumbnail with the other casting, and I think that might have something to do with all of the clicks, to be honest.
The internet can be a
I've
predictable
tried getting
place.
my boobs out slightly on thumbnails. It doesn't have quite the same impact, unfortunately, on the views. But no, it's the thing, isn't it? Some things will spike. I know there's a great series called Threesome from Lisa Gifford, and they've got very, very, very good views. And then they have one episode which has a slightly more provocative thumbnail than the others, and I know that has a lot more views. So then a lot of YouTubers say about thumbnails are important. Yeah, they are. Clearly they are. Because slightly more risque ones, people are like, oh, what's that?
Even if you haven't got any women at all in your cast, just get some supermodels on the thumbnails, and you'll be fine.
Some handsome people. Well, you know, we deliberately cast a very attractive gentleman as Tim Helsing in Series 3. He's just over there, actually. He's the guy in the with the hair, and he has a six-pack you could scrub shirts on. He's a professional actor and stunt rider of horses, and all round like a triangle of a man. So,
fair enough.
We cast him in season 3, and he gets his shirt off in episode 1.
Well, there you are.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to ask them much, to be honest. You kind of go, do you want it? Yep, okay, it's coming off already.
If I looked good, then you kind of like, why
but
not?
to be honest, if I had the physique that he had, I'd probably just walk around in just nothing else. Especially here at Comic-Con, where you can just walk around in your shorts, and everyone's like, that's fine. And there's one right now, actually, behind you. There you go. Half-naked gentleman.
Something from Mad Max, I assume.
He does a lot of press-ups. Or are they drawn on? I can't tell. I think they're drawn on.
It's a combination, I think.
You're going to get a photo. Like, absolutely have to overlay a photo right now. And there he's gone. Oh, you can see his muscular back glistening.
This interview's going off the rails.
It's come with the right idea. It's really warm in here, so maybe walking around shirtless is the way to go.
Could be. So how many Vidfest and/or Comic-Cons is this for you?
I think this is maybe my 5th Vidfest now. I've been to. I think the first one I came to was maybe 2012. And I've missed a couple just due to the real world getting in the way. But this has probably been our most successful one. It might be our last one though. It might be our last one that we do for a while. Because we're having a great time. But I think that we had a few conversations this weekend, and it was sort of coming from where we were at before we came here. I think what we might do now is like if we decide to carry on, because everything's kind of at the end, coming up to almost to the end now. I Am Tim was the one that we started the channel for, and that will be finished early next year. We'll start releasing it next month. It comes out every week. A little break for Christmas. It's 10 episodes for season 3. The end of the away mission comes out later on next year, sort of spring next year. The Knights Round Table is finished, We have a few little tiny shorts that we've filmed that are in the sort of post-production. So once they are all online, we kind of then going to go, well, what's next for us? And we'll make the decision to, if we decide to carry on, which we probably will do because we're idiots, we can't stop. That we would probably wait to do another one of these until we have more of an audience built up. I think at the moment we're around 2,000 subscribers. I think these are great, but this stall and this booth has taken us maybe about a month of work to get ready in terms of building it, planning it, and doing all of the marketing and the key rings, prints, badges, t-shirts, LED counters, all that sort of stuff. That was a month that we maybe could have spent making something and helping the audience evolve, and I think that's what we're probably going to focus on next year. I'll be here in May, but maybe not with a table or a booth.
For fun this time?
Well, for fun, and I'll likely be helping out with Vidfest, but more hands-on for them, because I have a great time here, and I've really enjoyed, facilitating and helping it keep ticking over. And I haven't really had to do much. Mostly been running between here and the theatre, just to deliver USB pens to people and make sure everything's just kind of ticking over. But yeah, it'd be nice to sort of hang out in the theatre, and I think the one thing that they're struggling with at the moment is there's nobody really moderating in there too much. Normally it's Elisar, who sadly isn't here this weekend. But yeah, see how it goes. I know some in the city have been more involved in Vidfest as well. I don't know whether they're going to appropriate the whole thing next year. I don't know. See how it goes. But if not, yeah, I'll just be here for fun. I'll just walk around with a muggle pass on and spend too much money.
So you think you're going to let the current shows sort of move to their conclusion, and then maybe if you're coming back with something brand new, a whole brand new idea?
We are. I'm a glutton for making web series because I just really enjoy making them, and I know that they're probably one of the hardest things to promote on YouTube because you're asking people not to invest in like 1 3-minute sketch. You're saying, hey, watch this whole heap of maybe 5, 10, 15-minute long videos, and that retention is very difficult because there is so much moving. And when you're making serialized content like that, it's the hardest thing is to keep the momentum on the channel going, because YouTube, as you know, just is a hungry little monster, and it says it wants you to upload every day, really. So you have people like Casey Neistat from New York. If you heard of that guy, he's awesome. He's a vlogger, filmmaker in NYC. If anyone hasn't checked him out, they should, because he's just inspirational, because he makes daily vlogs, but they're of such incredibly high production value that I wonder if there aren't 5 Casey Neistats cloned, all working at the same time. So I look at it and think, how do you do this every day? Whereas when we're making web series, it is much harder to make content that we want to make. So yeah, I think the web series will. We have 2 or 3 ideas. One of them is more evolved than the other. They're very simple ideas. Well, 2 of them are very simple ideas. One of them is not a simple idea. So that's actually been pitched to other places to sort of say, look, we've got this idea. We have the production company to make it, but do you want to fund it? Do you want to then appropriate it? So basically, like Wild Seed, we're going to pitch to Wild Seed and see how that goes, and a few other places as well that we're in touch with. But mostly, we're making a series of short videos next year called the Rumble Pack that are retro gaming-inspired action comedies, and we're making 12 of those, and they're like all 60 seconds to 2 minutes long. Very, again, with the practical effects, Judge Dredd levels of effects. So when people get shot with a G-Con 3, like a quarter of their head will disappear. And we're going to really like just swim in that 1980s aesthetic of over-the-top machoism and violence, but with a lot of stronger, with female leads. We have a lot of girls involved in the show. Natalie over there is an incredible. Physically, she does a lot of fighting in Tim Series 3. She's one of the new main characters, and she makes myself and James, who are the sort of more established characters, look like oafs in comparison. We're just wallowing around, and she comes in like flipping off walls and flying through the air, and I just went, oh, this is much more entertaining. So I was like, hey, do you guys want to be in? And luckily, again, I said with Mike, who I mentioned earlier, they have a lot of people involved who want to. We'll see how it goes. We're kind of at a point now where we're wrapping up some things. We need to have a conversation where we go, well, what's next? What do we do next? Probably something, but we don't know what it is yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, to wrap up? Where can people find you online? and everything?
All over the internet. We basically Red Shirt Films. Laura runs our social media. She's the girl doing all the high-fiving at the moment, which we have our LED counter. It's coming up at 1,000 high fives, which is quite an impressive number of high fives. But yeah, if anyone Googles Red Shirt Films, it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course YouTube. That's probably the best way to do it. You go onto YouTube, search for Red Shirt Films, it'll be right there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
In the name of our show, we are attempting to find the worst film ever, so I'm asking everyone for their suggestions.
Worst
film you've ever seen.
Oh, I don't. Oh, I'm a sucker for a terrible film, though. I do enjoy a
And
terrible
a bit
film.
as well. The Horror Channel Late at Night I love.
I'm going to say my most favourite bad film is a film called Buckaroo Banzai in the Adventures Across the Eighth Dimension.
Right,
Have you
someone
seen
said that
this?
to us already. I haven't seen it yet, but someone has already suggested it.
Is it Peter Weller, the chap that played RoboCop? And it's got Jeff
Yes, it is,
Goldblum
yeah.
in. And if you watch it, it's basically all the actors from the 1980s. And it's about a man who is a brain surgeon, rock star, neuroscientist, drag car racing, action hero who gets involved in an alien invasion because he perforates a hole in space and time. And this is a real film that exists. And apparently it was going to be a trilogy. They shot it. It was going to be a trilogy, and it just bombed. Like they talk about films bombing now. This was remarkable. Like, it was such a huge budget and a massive A-list cast, and it was just received with absolute bemusement. But nowadays, it's weird because it now has that sense of humour that we've all got now, that kind of very oddly skewed, very surreal. It actually reminds me a bit of Rick and Morty.
Okay,
That kind of like hyper surreal dimension hopping, and the characters are really big and just mad.
Well, Kevin Smith has either tried or is trying to get it rebooted as a TV series.
Are they?
Yeah, Kevin Smith's
I'm
trying.
absolutely in.
I don't know if he tried and failed or if he's currently trying, but it's somewhere being talked about
Right.
behind closed doors.
I think you can get it from Pound Shop for probably not even a pound. Probably like 3 DVDs for £1.
Not even the Pound Shop wants to
But
sell
I think you can get it on Amazon for a penny, I believe.
Okay.
Which is amazing. So yeah, but I love it, and I must have watched it about 20 times.
Brilliant.
It's just great.
That's the second suggestion, so we'll probably definitely be watching that one at some point.
Is that someone else has said that film? I think?
Yeah.
It's just the one,
It's
isn't
fate,
it? It's
isn't
the
it?
one everybody loves to hate, but hates to love. It's great.
All right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tim Helsing, get another show that you can check out. Oh my god, we're getting all of the YouTube goodness. If you don't really know your way around YouTube, you could probably use this as kind of a checklist to sort of check out everything, check out possibly even in order, it doesn't really matter, just skip about and check out everything that we're talking to, or everyone that we're talking to, every show that we're talking to. It could be an educational night for you, or day, or probably quite a long time. But, take the weekend, take a long weekend, find a holiday, Christmas is coming up, just take some free time and just do that. And its interviews for a new show called The View. Now, The View hasn't actually come out yet. It comes out in early 2017 as an online show about a British group of superheroes, sort of a dark superhero. Yeah, it sounds like it's got a really cool feel, and got a really good look. And they debuted a trailer, which we got to go to a little press conference-y thing, and the debut of the trailer there, which was pretty cool. So this sounds like it could be good. This sounds like something we could definitely talk about once it comes online in the new year. We're going to start talking about it. So we're going to talk about it on our other show, which goes out on Wednesdays. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. But yeah, no, this sounds really interesting, and this is for an upcoming show that you can look forward to. If you need some down-to-earth, good superhero drama, and you can't wait for the new Daredevil or whatever to come out, yeah, you can get some British superhero drama coming to you in the new year, hopefully.
I'm here with the creator and star Sam Benjamin and the star Vincent Jerome of the new or upcoming web series, The Few. That's coming out in January, I believe.
Yep.
And why don't you tell us a bit about yourselves and a bit about the show?
Where to start? I'll start with the show. The Few is a gritty British online superhero mini-series. It's going to be out in January. The trailer has just been revealed to Comic-Con attendees, and we will be revealing the trailer online probably this evening for everyone to see.
Brilliant. So, superhero show. I was at the reveal for the trailer. It was very cool.
Yeah.
You're saying you want to do this because there's not really a British style of this kind of show before. You're doing a very dark, gritty, inspired, I imagine, by shows like Daredevil and things that have shown we can do serious superhero work.
Yes. So myself, I've been an actor for 6-7 years now professionally. How long have you been in the game, Vincent? About the same, yeah? Vince and I met probably a year into our careers as actors, and we immediately bonded over comic books and superheroes. And Prince, yes. That dance. And we started meeting up for coffees, as you know, actors tend to do every now and then, just to keep each other motivated and supported. And we go for coffee, go to Orbital Comics Forbidden Planet in Leicester Square. And then we'd always talk about how, we'd love to be in a superhero universe like Marvel or DC. We'd always talk about, what characters could we do? And then also we spoke about how we kept waiting. I don't know about you, Vince, but I always kept waiting I was assuming that somewhere in the UK someone would create a superhero universe in the ilk of Marvel or DC. It turns out nobody has. So eventually I just thought, well, looks like I'm going to have to do it.
Fair enough. So is this your first real stint into independent film or web series, or not necessarily as an actor but as a creator?
As a creator, I started off doing plays. I was at the Lyric Hammersmith Young Writers Programme with Simon Stevens and Bola Agbaje, two Olivier Award winning playwrights. I then kind of segued, because I grew up on TV and movies. I didn't really grow up on theatre, so I kind of gravitated towards writing screenplays and things like that. And I wrote a short movie, a crime caper called Double Cross, with Kyla Fry, who is in The Few. And that was directed by Sam Bradford, who is the co-creator of The Few. So that was kind of a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Ocean's 11 kind of thing, set in London with two on-off lovers who were con artists. So we did that last year, and it did really well in the festival circuit. And then me and Sam Bradford decided, well, we both combined, and we were like, what could we make superhero-wise? And this came about, and we just decided to get on it.
You a big web series fan before?
Well, we are not calling this a web series. This is an online TV series.
Okay.
That's going to be released online, because I think there isn't, to me now, people watch TV on Netflix, on YouTube, on whatever it might be, on their Roku boxes, on their Amazon Fire Sticks, on their laptops, whatever it is. So to me, we've created a TV miniseries that happens to be released on online platforms. So with that, Vince, do you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, really. Also, obviously the accessibility of, videos online. As I said, Sam was saying about having it on your phone, on your tablet, wherever. Also, I know that me and Sam, we're kind of the guy. We're the kind of guys who we dream big. We don't want to just. It is, as I said in the panel, it is a UK-based show. But at the same time, we want everybody to watch it. We want people all around the world to watch it. Yeah, we want international audience. And so in that sense, we can't think of a better platform to have it on than the internet. Because, I've got family overseas, and I could just be like, hey, check this out. And they can do that. They don't have to wait for a TV studio to give the rights to a TV studio over in another country and have all those deals done through. It's just like immediate... they can watch it immediately. And I know for myself, as I said, thinking big, excuse me, I lost my voice. I would like this show to kind of stumble upon for people across the pond to kind of see it and be like, okay, cool. Because at the end of the day, there's a shed load of talent here in the UK, and I think this is a way of kind of showcasing it.
And off the back of that, I also believe that, I've got a lot of friends across the pond, and I've been worked on some projects in, I've just done a Hollywood feature that I can't reveal just yet, but as soon as I can, I will. And I genuinely think that there's a big appetite, not only in this country, but also across the pond in North America, to see what the Brits would do with a superhero universe. And it just seems so... it is the kind of the costume superhero is an American tradition in terms of, going back to Superman in the 30s. So it was just that thing of, I wonder what it'd be like if, because a lot of these Marvel and DC, great stuff that's coming out on the CW, on Marvel, on Netflix, they're so great. And one thing that kind of they have to lock into, which is kind of a plus and a minus, is that they have to adhere to these stories that were created in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s. Very often they modernise, but with this, it's set in 2016 and it was created in 2016. So we've got that thing of like, we can set it now, we can make it look like there's people in there that represent today's society with real problems, and we're not kind of tied down by that.
Great. Can you talk a little bit more about actually making the series, the people that you ended up working with, and I suppose your characters?
Okay, I'll kick off with how it began. Myself and Sam Bradford, who directed Double Cross, we worked together on that short movie. We saw Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and contrary to popular opinion, we loved it. And we just started chatting. He just looked at me and he said, well, I got to direct something like this. And I said, I've got to be in something like this. And that fused that with the desire to create something British and original. And within a week, we had a story lined up. We moved pretty quick. We had a script down within a week or so as well. And then it just went from. And then in terms of that, Sam Bradford's got is with a production company called Praxima. They do a lot of high-end commercial and corporate gigs, so they know they know all about how to create gorgeous product. So that fused with kind of Sam Bradford's creativity, my creativity. We then just set about. We had our crew together, and then I set about casting it through. And I'm not a casting director, but I basically just cast it because I knew through my circles, I knew people that would smash these roles, and also people that probably hadn't been given a chance to play roles like this, and the industry maybe saw them as something else or was pigeonholing them as something else. And I had a lot of fun in asking people to come on board, and pretty much everyone I asked was really excited by it. And a lot of the people in the cast are comic book fans.
Yeah, completely. Just to jump on what Sam was saying. Yeah, me and Sam, excuse me, sorry, I got a really bad throat. Me and Sam have been friends for a while, and obviously we do coffee and comics and all that. So when Sam told me about the show, I don't know at what point the process it was when he first told me about it. I think it was just in the ideas, kind of. I don't know if Sam had even written anything, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great, that sounds cool, that sounds awesome, it sounds like something I'd want to see. And then when he asked me to play Christian Davis, who's obviously my character, like I said this to Sam, like I didn't even finish reading the email. I didn't even finish reading the email.
You texted me, did you call me or text me straight away, pretty much? I
think I called you straight away. I think I might have texted you when I was underground and let it just wait till it went through. And then when I got overground, I called you. And because it was like I'd seen Double Cross before, and I'd loved it. One of the things that really captured my attention with Double Cross was the opening credits sequence, which is very kind of Bond, Mission Impossible-esque. And so knowing what I knew about the show already, and obviously knowing Sam and what a talented writer he is, and just again loving this world, it was a no-brainer. I was just like, yeah, of course I'll do it. Like, I think my exact words were like, don't bother giving it to anybody else. Like, just don't bother. Just don't. But yeah.
So it's very much a character-led, more of a drama. You're not just jumping about in tights and a cape. It's very much about the characters, isn't it?
Yeah, which, I mean, obviously budget restrictions was the first thing, because we're not a studio finance production. This is an independent production. So we framed the story around what we knew we could execute, on what we have, on the crew we have, on the equipment we have, what we could get for a modest budget, and that kind of set the standard. And I mean, I always like, I know everyone, you know, we're at MCM Comic-Con, everyone's got their own little faves of like what vibe and what flavors they love, which is great. Me personally, like one of my big influences since I was a kid was Tim Burton's '89 Batman, and that's always stuck with me. It's a film I always go back to, and for whatever reason, Batman always resonated with me, and I've always liked really dramatic, high stakes kind of stuff where characters are complex and going through complex emotions, and have antagonists that are really challenging but also persuasive. And you know, kind of, you look at Marvel's Daredevil with Daredevil and Kingpin in season 1. That's when I think the superhero and that kind of genre really flies, is when you've got a villain who you can kind of see where he's coming from, but also he's really, really doing bad things. You've got a hero that's kind of torn and tragic, but he's trying to make the best of a bad thing and do the right thing in their terms. So I've always been fascinated with that. So to answer your question, we wanted to go, character driven, and we wanted to earn the action and earn the special effects and earn the use of the superpowers. If I think you've got to, and I think, again, to use Daredevil, it was a slow build in that first season, and I actually preferred season 1 when he was just dressed in a black fitted top with a bandana and a belt and combats, and that kind of improvised thing and just discovering himself, and that's kind of where we're going. So in terms of, is it spandex and colours and things like that, we've tried to get a nice blend of, we wanted to do it's like sci-fi realism, but with a gorgeous splash of comic book.
Yeah. If we're talking costume, do your characters have a recognisable look, would you say? Is there not a costume as such, but something about them?
Yeah, my character just wears very, very comfortable clothes. Like he's jeans, boots, kind of jacket kind of dude. And again, to kind of echo what Sam was saying, because we're not trying to ham it up in any way, and even though we are telling stories about people with fantastical abilities, and it's not overly heightened, do you know what I'm saying? Like it's, and so for me, thinking about Christian as a character, it would make, he sees himself as just a guy. He may be able to do things that majority of people could never dream of doing, but he just sees himself as a guy who's just living day to day, So it makes sense for him not to have a costume per se. But yeah, Sam's got a question.
What was your question initially?
I want to know about your character, because you were saying before the character and the fight director that you've had on, and I think it's a bit more about the
my character.
Yeah,
So the series picks up a year and a bit after 3 of our protagonists have discovered that they have superhuman abilities after they did a medical trial. They're all in different places in their lives, and they all deal with it in different ways. And my character is a young detective who's gone rogue because of a tragedy that happened to him that basically made him really disillusioned with the police and organised law enforcement. So he has no powers, he's just a human, and he goes underground and kind of becomes a kind of a street costumed vigilante. And so in terms of costume for him, think, we're talking like a Daredevil kind of working class Batman kind of thing. He's not got the riches of Bruce Wayne. So he is more of in a kind of Matt Murdock mold of, hey, if I was going out at night, practically what would I need? What can I do to execute it? And so he has a very kind of, I guess he wears the most comic book, you could say, in terms of...
If we're talking about it being comic booky, that's the closest thing to it, but at the same time it's still other than a few items of clothing or items that Sam had, you could wear it down the street.
I mean, my character's in, leather jacket, a black baseball cap, combat, so very much Daredevil Season 1-esque, but in his own kind of, I really tried to think about, because I even thought about putting him in a hoodie, because it felt like, oh, well, yeah, everyone wears it, a hoodie to cover his face, but then I was like, nah, you know what, like, hoodies, A, hoodies are everywhere, B, Luke Cage is a hoodie guy, and we don't want to step on that, and C, my character is from Merseyside, where I grew up, and I was thinking about it logically, and I was like, well, we like a baseball cap, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's what he would wear, and so it's kind of that, he's kept it real to himself, and there is, unlike, say, Bruce Wayne, he is not a well-known billionaire playboy in the country, so he's less arsed about his identity. He's not going to parade it, but at the same time, he kind of, He's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to shout it about. I'm just going to get things done.
He's got slightly more of a superhero agenda than the other characters have, you say.
He's basically been fighting crime. When we joined the series, he's kind of started his mission fighting crime on a low level in terms of street muggings and things like that. And when he discovers that these superpowered beings exist, that throws his whole world into a whole new state of shock. How does he deal with it? Who are these people? And when a disaster happens, and he thinks that one of these superhumans has committed it, he then knows that it's a race against time to find the other superpowered people. If they're out there, who they are, what their intentions are, because without them, then the country is in big trouble.
So the show's launching in January. So how can people find the show on like social media or online? All of that.
We are on Twitter at the Few Series, Instagram and Facebook at Fewniverse, FEWNIVERSE. We are releasing the trailer later today, I believe, and it's just been revealed to Comic-Con attendees, so I think it's going to be on their YouTube on MCM Buzz, or follow at MCM Buzz. But yeah, if you follow any of those, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we'll keep you up to date with all of the releases. There's some behind the scenes things on Facebook now. Yeah, follow us and get in touch as well. Say hi.
We'd love to review the series in January and talk to you again then once we've seen the show, and then can talk about it in more detail.
That'd be great, and we will send you a check for a very favourable review, and all will be well.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks
No
so much,
problem at
guys.
all.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
So that's The Few. It sounds pretty cool, and it looked pretty cool as well. I was going to look forward to that one.